Hey everybody, welcome to TSP Weekly. Welcome to a special hackathon episode. This is kind of our second hackathon. The startup weekend was in Guelph was hackathon-ish.
Yep, this is CodeFest Waterloo.
That's right, and you might have heard some commercial spots for CodeFest Waterloo. We ran for a few weeks before recording here today, and now we're at the actual event. It's happening all around us. Code is being written, and smart people are hammering away on keyboards, doing things I don't understand fully.
Data is flowing. We're here at the Center for International Governance and Innovation.
Whoa, you got it on your first try.
Otherwise known as CG.
Yep, perfect. And we've seen some interesting stuff so far. We have, people making use of, location data and parking data and a lot of data. There's data flying around everywhere.
There's tons of code on computers that I don't know what it means or does. But then there's also some UI and UX designers here writing on some glass panes and fancy markers. That I understand a little better.
Right. There's business people here. There's a table of free chocolate, which I've been liberally enjoying so far.
Yes, from our friends down at Communitech, I think, are manning the chocolate and Halloween candy booth.
Yeah, that's right. They also served like a taco buffet earlier, which was quite tasty. So for me, it's all about the food, I think, is what it comes down to. We're hoping some great stuff gets developed, but if there's free food, it's already a win in my book. So
we're going to check out some of the participants and talk to some of the organizers. Then Sunday night, we're going to see some sort of pitches and awards given out, I think.
Yeah, find out who won and hopefully try out some demos if there's some working products by the end of the night.
Yeah, so really looking forward to it.
Sounds great.
So we're here with Raj Sayan and Jeff Dungan at the Waterloo CodeFest.
Waterloo CodeFest.
How did I do with your name, Jeff? Did I slaughter it?
It's pretty close. Dungan.
Dungan.
Yeah.
Is that German?
Yeah, what's the background on that name?
It's German.
Right.
And then you go further back and then it's Dutch. And then the G becomes like a so you can't pronounce it in either language. It's just awful. So here in Canada, I'm Dungan. Yeah.
Awesome.
I love saying words with It's one of my treats in life.
So Jeff is he's got the hosen. I'm not sure about the leader, but he is wearing.
But he is kind of a leader today. He's the MC of the event.
Absolutely.
And Jeff, for those who have listened carefully to every episode we've ever recorded, has actually been on a previous episode of the podcast, even though he's from Montreal. Yeah. There are a few people in the city that we actually live in who can claim to have been on the podcast twice, and yet you, a Montrealer, have been on twice.
It's just a Montreal thing to do, is to get on other people's podcasts.
I guess it is. This is awesome. I hope when I go to Montreal, I'm afforded the same kind of privileges.
No, it doesn't work that way. It's Montrealers go on other people's podcasts, right? But your superpower here, I'm sure, is
something else.
Yet to be discovered.
Fair enough.
Have you ever been to Montreal, Darren?
I have, briefly. Yeah. I don't remember anything about it. I remember there are cobblestone streets somewhere.
They're really pretty.
You should come visit sometime. It'll be fun.
Sure.
We'll hang out.
Raj, you've been to Montreal?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, for my grade 12 grad trip.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
It's kind of like the thing to do, right? Because underagers and just having some fun before they go off to school. And
I think we went to Ottawa, which is like the Montreal of Ontario. Maybe not.
No,
well, you
really.
cross the river and then you're in Quebec, and then all bets are off. And
Fair enough. So we have Raj and Jeff are here as kind of the two leading people of this event. I don't know what we call it. Raj is the organizer and Jeff is the MC. So everyone is looking to these two to know what the heck is going on at any given time.
So what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on? So coders have been coding since 8 o'clock. Jeff did a great job with the opening ceremonies. Really hyped up the crowd, kind of got them involved in what it is the city's hoping to get out of this, and really pumped them up. And then ideas just started brewing. It was amazing. Everyone kind of dashed out of the auditorium, formed their teams, got some really prime real estate on the floor for their groups to sit at, and ever since then they've just been approaching Jeff. They've been approaching all of our sponsors, SAP, Esri, IMS, Communitech for advice. I
love how you seamlessly worked the sponsors into that.
Yeah, that was
great.
Yeah, they're
natural.
They're the ones that have made it happen. Western Union. Who else is here? There is Myovision. Laurier, UW, everyone's just really come together. They want to see something great come out of this, something for the community, something that residents and students alike can use, and something that the city can be proud of. We're hoping to do more of these, and Jeff has just been a great integral part to this.
Can I ask how, and I'm sorry to talk about you in the third person, Jeff, while you're right here with us, but how did Jeff get brought into the fold of this event?
So I am a nerd by choice. Love it.
By choice.
And
Lifestyle choice.
And I was at the Ambient Waterloo conference back in, I believe it was July or August.
Right.
And Jeff was speaking there, and he was very charismatic, very knowledgeable about the tech sector and about what his company does and how he's been at hackathons, how he's actually judged some, provided mentorship, and so it seemed like a great fit. And Jeff's a UW grad, he knows the area, he's familiar with it. So we wanted to be able to showcase the fact that UW grads have this higher status. They go off to do great, amazing things.
He was so impressive during the opening ceremonies when he released all those doves. He was so gentle, but yet he had a command of the doves.
Gentle,
so it was impressive.
Yeah, I mean...
Yet firm. Gentle yet firm.
Gentle yet firm. And
doves need firmness, otherwise they don't have direction.
Of course.
That's right.
Yeah.
You want to set them free, but you want to give them direction.
That's it. Yeah, otherwise they just go everywhere and they poop. That's just not, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Because
So-
the first thing on the list was cleaning up the messes, remember?
Cleaning up the mess is
That's
very
it.
important. I don't want to leave CG in a mess because then CG will never give me their space again. But no, CG's been great. This is the first time CG's ever hosted an event like this, so we're really thankful for them for giving us this venue.
And
This is the
CG
first-
stands
yeah.
for the Center for International Governance
Innovation.
and
Innovation, yeah.
Yes,
And this is the
so-
first time I've been in this building, and it's pretty awesome. It's like natural light everywhere.
Yeah.
Is this one of the
Just great.
4 buildings the mayor was talking about
This is
that
one
is
of, yeah,
Yeah.
this
like
is one
an
of the
architectural wonder of the world?
Yes, this is one of the 4 buildings that has won an award. So CG, it's the Clay and Glass, Knox, and then
The Perimeter Institute?
Yeah.
So those are the 4 buildings at this corner that have all won those awards of distinction for architectural design. And
Right.
so, yeah, we're very, very fortunate that CG lent us their space.
Yeah.
And they've allowed the community to come in and really be able to see that it is a public working space. It's not just a glass ivory tower in the uptown. It is meant for their use.
Yep.
And so, yeah, so they're getting some great profile coverage out of this as well.
That's awesome. Now, Jeff, I remember hearing you last night at the, what do we call that? The kickoff
launch party.
The launch party.
Yep.
Talking a little bit about how anytime you kind of have a long way to travel, you make it an adventure somehow. And when
That's true.
when you came last time to Waterloo, you had a stranger in your car with you, and this time you've done the same thing again.
Exactly.
Can you
DJ
tell us a
Disco
bit
Love?
about that adventure? Yeah.
For sure. Well, last time I came, I decided to use the car analogy for Internet of Things, which was very fortuitous because everyone else decided to do that as well.
Sure.
And I did a test speaking about the sharing economy. It was, if I'm going to drive from Montreal to Waterloo, one person in a car, that's very wasteful in terms of fossil fuels. Let's at least try and see if we can make the sharing economy work. It's an awkward time. When you leave Montreal at 4 a.m., there's not a lot of people that seem to really be keen about that.
Sure.
Yet in August when we did it, a fine gentleman named DJ Latino Heat joined me in my car.
Great name.
Had a great conversation about
Did he play some
professional
DJ beats
wrestling.
for you?
No, we were talking about wrestling, and he played a wrestling podcast. And I didn't know
awesome.
that there were wrestling podcasts, but there are wrestling podcasts, just like there are tech startup podcasts. And
I had no idea. Like, wrestling seems like such a visual sport. How do you podcast it?
Yeah.
I can actually digress real far and go to on a previous road trip in Amsterdam, New York. I visited the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame,
Wow.
Amsterdam, New York,
All
and
right.
apparently it's East European immigrants that would come to that area. And when there was only radio, they would print out these charts that would show all the different moves, and they would say, "Oh, he's doing number 27 on him," and that was how you followed wrestling. So
Yeah, the
Wow.
reverse Australian chokehold, I think was. You
that's
said
exactly.
27, right?
That's 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. So that was the last time I did the sharing thing, and this time again, same thing.
Yep.
Leave Montreal at 4 a.m. and I had to stop by in Toronto, so posted a ride. A girl named Kristen was very happy that I did so. Apparently the megabus was full booked and everything was all full booked, and she
That megabus
finished,
is horrible.
finished
Oh,
a
is it?
bar.
I cannot take that megabus.
I've never been
don't
on
do
the
the
megabus.
megabus.
I took it to Montreal.
Really?
Book the front seat.
No.
And then you're okay.
It took like 11 hours.
Yeah.
And then one person, like, I don't know what they did in the bathroom, but dude, for like 8 hours. It was really, really bad.
Oh,
And I never, ever want to do it ever again.
wow.
Sharing economy.
Wow.
Ride with Jeff in his really old car at
right.
4 a.m.
Somebody told me Megabus will not be a sponsor of any future events that we run here either.
But maybe we can get a bathroom air freshener or something like that
Yeah,
to sponsor.
sure.
But really strong one.
Yeah.
High concentration level.
Right.
Crazy. Wow. I think it's so cool when you're talking about sharing economy and different things like this. Like, just there's not many people who would be like, hey, I got an extra seat in my car. Let's just call somebody up or put out an ad and see who.
No, it's pretty random.
Yeah,
It was
comes on
this
board.
person's first time using this, which
Yeah.
is pretty interesting because she's a girl. All her friends were like, "Are you really like just getting in a stranger's car to go to Toronto at 4 a.m?" And like,
Yeah.
I know. Picture of the car is on the web. I mean, how bad could that be, right?
Sure.
It's like
And,
Uber with no money exchanged.
That's it. And
Yeah.
Very cool.
it was great. And I managed to convince her. We were talking about health and hacking and all this stuff and what I do. And I managed to convince her and her friend that she should participate in a hackathon in Montreal for hacking health. And she
Wow.
seems really keen. So, again, if I didn't make my car ride more efficient,
Yeah.
we wouldn't make the hackathon more efficient, would we?
And too, like Raj was talking about seeing you at this previous event when you were doing your presentation, and that led to being involved with this, which leads, and it's just one of those things that the more you get involved, the more you do, the more you meet people, the more new doors open up, right? So if anybody's listening to this right now and you're one of those like sit in your basement on your computer types, get out of the house
Get out there,
sometimes.
network.
Yeah.
Your
You never know
net
what'll
worth
happen.
is your network.
Wow.
Nice pun.
Deep.
Yeah. Philosophical.
Yeah.
Very deep.
So this is we're kind of Saturday afternoon at the moment. We're not really halfway through yet. Maybe a third of the way through the hackathon. Would that be accurate to say?
I would say
Maybe
that
even less
Even
than
less.
that.
there's
Yeah,
less
yeah.
than that.
36 hours, and
Are
we're
you asking
maybe,
Raj a complicated mathematical time
Yeah,
question on an hour
I'm trying
sleep
to
right
work
now?
it out myself here. Yeah.
So most of the participants have sort of met with a mentor this morning. I know that Mayor was here.
Yep.
who,
Dave Dworsky.
the Mayor was here. Yep.
Oh yeah, that Mayor.
And Mayor
you're talking about
Tenwan.
Mayor, the gentleman whose name is Mayor. Yes.
Yeah, he's a Conestoga College professor and an employee at Sandvine, which is now SAP.
Yep.
So he was providing some mentorship to some of the groups this morning, and we chatted with him just before he left and said some really bright people and some great ideas that he had seen so far.
Absolutely. Now, Raj and Jeff, have you talked to any of the groups as they've been hacking away? Have you seen kind of what's been in the works here?
Of course.
Absolutely.
We did,
Are you willing to share a little bit of
got any
insight into what
favorites
you've
yet?
seen so far?
No
So-
favorites, no favoritism.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, that
well
was
done.
like-
But I will let Jeff talk about kind of what the teams have been working on and what they've been saying, but no favoritism.
All right.
Excellent.
Fair
Well
enough.
Okay, so I can have a favorite?
No favorites.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
None.
So we can't say that like zombie killing
You
is
can
more
have-
important than
really
others. Okay.
interesting.
Have a favorite. You just can't say
that's
that
right.
it's your favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it.
What was
I
the
got
most
it.
interesting?
Well, what was really fun this morning coming out of the opening, there were some people who were like, is there what's the structure now, or do we like have forced time to do things? And it's like, no, this is an emergent order hackathon. We're gonna go figure this out. So we decided to create a train of mingling, which is called the Mingle Train.
Awesome.
Very simple rules. One sentence to introduce yourself. One sentence to say why you're here, what you're looking to achieve. And we just went through. Anyone who was looking for a team did it. It was a great way to meet everyone, get everyone's ideas out. Everyone got to know what everyone was working on.
Sure.
And some very good ideas. There's a lot based on geolocation data.
Right.
So some of it, static, built infrastructure and all that. Some of it more dynamic. And then there's other fun ideas that involve a lot of gamification, which is always really great. Sells very well, very engaging.
Yeah.
Some apps, and there's still people trickling in that have very strong ideas of what they'd like to do. And because we're less than a third of the way through, they still have plenty of time to make it work. So
Sure.
That's awesome. Hey, what was your sense of the participants? Is it mainly students? Is it mainly programmers? Is it designers? Is it a mix of all of that?
It's you mentioned both. It's students and programmers. Very heavy on that. So it's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of technical prowess in this hackathon. And I was trying to encourage everyone as well. Don't forget to sell what you're doing. It's all really great what you've done, with Meteor.js and all that. But most of the people here don't know what Meteor.js is. So make sure it's explained well. There are a few people studying in user experience design or that have more business backgrounds, and I've tried to help sprinkle and mingle them around to make sure that the love
tech
is
people
well
can be
distributed, so
supported.
the presentations rock. and
Sure.
the technical prowess can be well exhibited.
You know, I saw one group working over near where the lunch table is. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but they're doing like a virtual reality application, like visualizing some kind of some of this data, which I thought was really cool too. I haven't seen a lot of that at past hackathons I've been involved in, so I think we should have hopefully some very interesting demos by the end of this weekend.
Yeah.
With
Definitely
what people
expect
put
that.
together.
We were
Yeah.
talking to a couple participants last night that had come all the way from Stratford. So it seems like there's been quite a pull.
And
from
one
the
of the
area.
sponsors came all the way from Halifax, which is
Yep.
a big deal. For those who don't know Canadian geography, that's a long way from where we are here.
Yeah.
Way out east.
Yes, longer than
Yeah.
Montreal to here.
We also have a sponsor from San Fran.
Oh, wow.
Red Bull's our official energy drink sponsor. Last night at the launch party, we had Waterloo Brewing that sponsored all of our beer.
Wow.
So yeah, the community's just been great. It seems like they wanted this to happen for a really long time, and
Sure.
we're very fortunate, very blessed, very lucky to be the first city in the Tri-City area to do it.
Now, when you talk about all these sponsors, is that your kind of hustle that have got all these people on board, Raj, or did you have other people working with you?
That part was just it was all me. But
Just a lot of phone calls and begging? Or?
yeah, but you know what? I think social media really did help because
Okay.
I was tweeting about it. Waterloo CodeFest is going on. We really want to have open data liberated. That's our focus. That's our strategic initiative.
Yep.
But also that it aligns really well with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, calling on the private sector to work alongside public sector to make government more open, accountable, and transparent.
Sure.
And so I think businesses in our community really do understand that, and they don't just care about they don't care about the profit margins anymore.
Right.
They're more about the triple bottom line. What can we give back to our community, and
Right.
how can we help? So I think that really spearheaded a lot of the sponsorship. SAP most definitely. That was one of their top priorities. They want to give back to the community. BlackBerry, you can see BlackBerry is all over the place here.
I'm sitting on BlackBerry right
We're
now.
sitting on BlackBerry chairs. So yeah, BlackBerry's been phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
And we're just very fortunate to be in a very thriving community, a very collaborative community, and one that's innovative and wanting to see change.
Sure.
It must be so exciting for a professed nerd like yourself to have begun all those relationships with all of the different sponsors in the tech environment here.
It's definitely amazing. So I myself am a recent grad. I graduated last year, and I've just been very fortunate to kind of move into this role at the city, and I feel very fortunate. My director kind of lets me do things, lets me make mistakes as long as the mistakes aren't that big. But he's like, you're young and you kind of know what's happening out there. I've been inside the dome of the four walls, so to speak, for a long time, and I may not necessarily know how it works. So go ahead. If you think tweeting at people is going to make it work, then do it.
Wow, that's
So-
awesome.
And just so everyone
oh,
knows, there's a balloon popping thing in the corner. No one was just shot.
Yeah,
Everyone is okay.
there's something going on around the corner there.
Yeah.
So Raj, if you were to give some advice to, maybe there are people out there in their own cities who might want to start an event like this. I know a lot of this was your legwork and making the phone calls and making the arrangements. Do you have any kind of quick advice that you could lay out for them?
Yeah, what
Yeah.
worked best for you? And then give us one
What
avoid
worked,
this one.
Well,
Yeah.
what worked best, I think, is actually attending a hackathon.
Right.
Know what's going on, kind of experience it for yourself, see what the event will look like, and then see if you can actually imitate what's going on, or how do you change it to make it fit for your city? Is there a particular problem that your city wants to solve, and can you incorporate the hackathon into that? Make it a challenge of some sort.
Sure.
For us, it was open data. Open data is one of our strategic initiatives at the city, and so we really wanted to be able to showcase that we're liberating it. It's your data, even though it's the data that we're collecting about you and we're housing it. It's yours, so make it useful.
Yeah.
So I think really attending a hackathon is a great benefit for you if you're trying to plan one.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I would avoid for next time is understanding that the tech community does not like the wee hours of the morning at 6 a.m. to start.
Sure.
They more likely prefer the wee hours in the morning, like midnight or 1 a.m.
Right.
versus the 6 a.m. or the 8 a.m.
Right.
So I think that that would be something that we would probably change for the next go around.
Gotcha.
But definitely a learning item for us. This is our first time doing it, and we're excited. We think it's going well. So
I think it's going well. I've ate far too much free chocolate over here. We're sitting right beside the free chocolate bar table. As we
thank you very much,
here,
Communitech.
So, yeah. So I apologize to my wife right now. I'll try to put in some extra gym hours, honey, and get this worked out. Listen, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have other things to take care of here today, so we don't want to keep you too long. But looking forward to seeing how the rest of the hackathon goes. It's exciting so far. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I actually left Igloo for a while and came back because you get the sense of family, the sense of working as a team.
It's a really inspiring place to work. People can be who they are when they're in the building, and we're all working together for a common goal.
It gets a little crazy at times.
I have a very, very large collection of rubber ducks. My first day, out of nowhere, I just got shot by so many Nerf guns. I mean, we get beer every other Friday. There's nothing wrong with that.
You could be here for a few weeks, but if you have a great idea and we think it'll work, we'll run with it.
Where you can go forward and pursue your own dreams.
They're empowered to do their job. Our culture is all about team.
It's really great, and it's something that you kind of strive for in a company.
If you have a great idea, we're going to implement it. That's why people love working here.
Igloo! Did you get that?
All right, everyone, we're back, and we're sitting here with Jeff Sullivan from Cloud A, Cloud-A. As we've been told, you need to have the dash between the cloud and the A.
Absolutely.
It's way better than Cloud-B or Cloud-C.
Yeah, exactly. And it has that Canadian connotation, as we said earlier.
So Cloud A.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing was, if they did the dash EH, we limit ourselves to the Canadian market forever, but if you do it with the letter A, you can, start with the Canadian market and expand, which is what we're trying to do now, so it works.
And then all the Canadians can kind of nudge each other and be like, we get the inside joke that the rest of the world doesn't even see.
Canada.
Right?
Actually, you know who really apprecies it is our American customers. Like, it's so stereotypical that they love it. So I hear more buzz from them than I do from the Canadians.
So is Cloud A Canadian company right now?
Yeah. So we are Canadian owned and operated. We're based out of Halifax.
Right.
And we kind of started, our founders were in the shared hosting space and kind of saw a need for cloud in Canada, similar to what Amazon was providing in the States. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people in Canada who are really concerned about where their data is located, and not just where it's located, but Canadian owned and operated and things like that. So that's really where our roots come from.
And what is it about Canada specifically that you think people are like, I need to have it hosted in Canada, I don't want Amazon holding on to it?
So, there's been a few precedent-setting cases that have been big in the news around this that have gotten people paranoid.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Patriot Act is a big thing, and then of course Snowden got a lot of hype there. But recently. There's been some laws that have been shot down between the U.S. and Europe that have made people a little bit concerned about where their information stays. So it's becoming less about Canadian resident, I think, and more about almost un-American, based on some of the things that have been going around. So
we just want our data somewhere that's not the U.S.
Yeah, exactly.
But close by.
Yeah, well, exactly. So Canada serves as a perfect place for it if you want, low latency to North America, but not necessarily in the United States. So
right.
Yeah.
So when you say that some of Europe has had some pushback, what do you mean? Can you explain that a little bit more to our listeners? What do you mean? So Europe has said what?
Yeah, so the safe harbor compliance was something back in the year 2000 that the European Union, the United States had come to an agreement on, and it was a certification that essentially, if you had this certification, it said it was okay to transfer data between the EU and the United States. Then, when the whole Snowden thing happened and it came to surface that the NSA was snooping a lot, the European Union brought this to the courts, and just last week or the week before, it was shot down. So it's no longer valid.
And it's not like just the U.S., it's U.S. companies, right?
Totally.
So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Totally, because it goes back to the precedent-setting case last year, I believe, where the Supreme, or the court system in New York, they said that Microsoft had to give up data that was sitting in a Irish data center, even though it was in Ireland, because they are an American company. They have to abide by American laws. So they were actually able to access that data. So that was kind of the first thing that triggered this. And, it all kind of bridges together, and really it creates a lot of paranoia, about where people are keeping their data, regardless of whether that data, whether it's good or bad data or whatever, people just don't want the ability.
Sure, it could be
for something
my son's birthday and my passwords for my Google Drive or something.
And here's the other thing too. I mean, a lot of companies, it's not their data, it's their customers' data, right? So everybody owes it to somebody to keep their data private, right? So it's not necessarily I don't want you to see my data. It's I don't want you to see my customers' data, right?
Right. But it's funny when you talk about data kind of living places. Like, I've never really imagined it being in a geographical location. I know logically it's stored on a piece of hardware somewhere, right? But like, I don't think, my Gmail messages are all in whatever city, or my, I don't know, my gaming account is stored in this other place or whatever, right? I just kind of think of it as a big nebulous internet where everything is talking to everything all the time. Yeah. And so that's why I think when we were chatting earlier today off air, quote unquote off air, I still find it interesting that people think of data so much in geographical terms, because it just feels like the internet has made us one big community. So should it really matter if my data is on a server in Ireland or in wherever, right? Yeah. Like it should be, in my mind, it's a matter of who has access to it and who doesn't, or who owns it, or who knows the password, more than what city is my server in.
Yeah, but you get logged down in all the legalities of it, right? Like, look at the Ashley Madison. Their whole marketing is nobody needs to know.
Right.
And I don't know where their servers were, but everybody now knows.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I don't know
that
was hackers, right?
And would that help at all?
And
Jeff?
once again, I don't think hackers respect geographical boundaries necessarily.
Well,
either,
like
right?
if Ashley Madison was in North Korea, could the hackers have gotten it as easily or not?
I mean, I don't really think that makes a difference. I just, it's very unclear right now. I mean, and I see it every day interacting with our customers, right? And we still get a lot of people every single day who are asking us about this stuff. Yeah. And there's, handfuls and handfuls of different governing bodies and different laws for different verticals and different provinces and municipalities and everything. And nobody really knows what the rules are. All they know is that somebody told them this, right? It has to be in Canada. And all they're looking to do is get that check in the box, realistically. Because I'm the same as you. I don't care that my Gmail is probably actually distributed in a CDN across the world. Yeah. I really don't care.
Sure.
But it kind of goes back to when I'm talking about my customers' data, they do care.
But isn't it all in some way or another just kind of like psychological comfort that people are looking for? It's not like, how would I put this? Like, I can imagine politicians and policymakers sitting around making decisions, writing up certifications, creating paperwork around this subject, and then the people who are actually working with the data and writing the programs and doing the work being like, yeah, they can talk all they like. This is the world that we work in, and it's over here, and we know how it works, and they don't.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
There's... Yeah, I think there's definitely a gap from the technical side of things, like you're saying, and the policymakers and the rule makers, right? And I think to a certain degree it is a psychological thing. Yeah. I have always personally thought that it would fade over time, but as we were talking about off air, recently it's become more important. So it's really interesting to kind of see where this thing is going. And but from somebody who sees it day in and day out, it's something that's strengthening right now.
Sure.
One of the only bumper stickers I've ever had was perception is reality.
Yes. There you go.
So I'm a firm believer in that after being in the hospitality industry for so long.
Yeah.
Right.
My favorite trick would be when somebody would order something, it would be, say, a steak. And I would hold it above them as I'm putting it down in front of them and say, "Here's your spaghetti and meatballs, sir." And just look at the look on their face as I'm putting it down, right? Yeah. Because the perception is they're getting spaghetti and meatballs, but I have their steak that they ordered. So I loved the concept of
screwing
marketing
with people.
And, you talk about. It's not just screwing with people, right?
I'm just kidding.
It was always well received because everybody else laughed at him. And what did the guy going to do, So it was either spaghetti and meatballs or liver and onions. Those are my two tricks.
Right.
But so when you talk about the big data, right, and it's what you perceive to be real, because there are no rules. Like, everybody is just following a checkbox.
Exactly.
So
it comes back to the private cloud versus public cloud. Like, there's a lot of organizations right now, large organizations, who are pumping millions of dollars and actually building their own internal cloud. Right. And I mean, a lot of times it's because of their own internal policies around having that control over it. It's a bizarre concept.
Sure.
And perhaps some would say it's a dated concept, but there's still, that's an individual organization saying that that's our mandate.
It's funny when you say internal cloud because it's almost the opposite of the idea of the cloud. The cloud is like getting out of your little box and working in the big upper space above it, right? And they're like, we're going to just rebuild that insider box.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a few reasons why people do it, like, latency is one thing, and privacy is another thing. But but yeah, and there's a market for it right now.
Now, we've talked a lot about these big ideas, but tell us a little bit about the actual company. So if I was wanting to make use of your company's services, like what would I do?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. You can navigate to clouda.ca. You can sign up with the use of a credit card. And once you're signed up, you can start deploying servers, virtual networks, and storage instantly.
Awesome.
It's technically virtual private cloud. We get into a lot of buzzwords, but realistically, you have your own virtual networks that are hosted in our data centers, and you have full control, self-serve access to that infrastructure. So it cuts down the time of procuring infrastructure. Really what we're doing is we're providing developers with the tools that they need when they need them.
Right. So we can make a Minecraft server, Darren.
You know what? I bet you there probably are Minecraft servers there.
You think so?
Sure. And I'm assuming, like, price-wise, you guys are competitive with similar services that are out there now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, one thing right now, absolutely we are. So we were the first OpenStack public cloud in Canada.
Okay.
So we had the opportunity to kind of set the bar for pricing in Canada.
Yep.
It's really interesting right now, and it's nothing that we're doing specific, but with the Canadian dollar where it is, users are actually kind of flocking to Canadian providers who are offering it in Canadian pricing because they're saving 30 points right off the bat, right? So, so we're starting to see a little bit of opportunity there, which, is no pat on my back or any of our team. It's more of a...
And you're seeing a lot of Americans coming for the Canadian prices that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, that's another part of the market that we're seeing too, is that American SaaS companies who are on AWS are starting to move into Canada, and their customers are saying, well, I want my data in Canada. So all of a sudden, their big multi-tenant environment in the United States, they have to kind of make a smaller one in Canada somewhere. So that's a part of our market as well.
It's funny when you mention about the Canadian dollar, like our hosting for the actual podcast is supposed to be like $20 a month US. Yeah. Which is now like $28 a month Canadian or something. I think it was close to par when we started, and it's gotten more expensive over the last year.
If you're looking for a new spot to put it, I'm sure I could point you in the right direction.
We'll have to talk a little bit later, I think. Very cool.
So talking about looking inside the box a little bit, how does a company from Halifax find itself in the CG box in the city of Waterloo, participating and sponsoring a CodeFest?
Yeah, so one of our kind of mandates is we want to promote the use of modern cloud technology in Canada. Obviously, startups are kind of the low-hanging fruit there. They're not inundated with big, massive corporations that are slow-moving. They're actually the ones who can be really nimble and come up with new innovations. So what we're really trying to promote is not only getting your concepts and your code to the market, but having the infrastructure below that to be able to scale an idea. So this is a really good fit for us. We're able to come here. We're able to kind of talk with these teams and talk about, if this concept you're working on was to go to market, how would you scale this? So we're actually providing the winner with a year worth of cloud infrastructure so that they can commercialize their product.
Wow.
And our partner Cloud66, which provides DevOps as a service, is throwing in $500 worth of their deployment services. So essentially it allows the developers at CodeFest to come up with that concept, and we'll provide that kind of operations in the back end so that they can bring their product to market.
Sure, you paved the runway for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you're one of the judges as well?
I am, yes.
And so what are you going to be looking for personally in the winning team?
Yeah, what's your pet peeve?
Yeah.
Well, you need comments in code, or you
no,
what are you looking for?
I'm not a coder per se, but one of the things that we say, and one of the things that we would like to see startups do more is focus a little bit more on that operations up front. So I'm going to be looking for things like, does this thing have the ability to scale, or when it goes to deploy and it scales, is it going to fall on its face? Those are things that I think a lot of startup founders don't necessarily look for, especially if they're going like a venture capital route or something like that. They just want to get that idea out there. But when it comes time for traction, and you start to get users, and you might need to scale or move or be flexible. Sometimes that operations isn't there. So I'm gonna kind of, that's my own personal agenda. I do have a set of rules that I have to follow, but that's something I'll be looking for.
Interesting.
That's an
Sounds good.
expertise that I don't think we hear much about. As we've talked to sort of 70 or so startups, we hear about the need there, but it's not often addressed. It's often addressed retroactively instead
Right.
of proactively,
Exactly.
right? It's like, oh my God, now we have to scramble to solve another problem.
Although to be fair, I think it is easier these days to plan the scaling retroactively than it was in times past, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah, I agree. But-
you're not shooting yourself in the foot as much now as you might have in the past.
True.
By not thinking
Yeah, there's
about
more
it.
services and stuff available
Yeah.
for
Right.
you.
there are some, and it's a misalignment of the knowledge I think that's out there, but there are
Yeah.
some considerations that a developer can make up front
Right.
when they are architecting what they are developing that can lend themselves to scaling better in the future.
Sure.
So you hear people talk about containers now. While a developer might not really understand why he would use a container, making the decision to deploy your code in a container really lends itself to continuous integration down the road and things that are going to help them scale. So, so that's kind of the stuff that we preach, and we help startups back in Halifax kind of understand this. We have them come to us, just for guidance and advice on really how to architect this from the beginning to lend itself down the road.
So you guys are involved in the startup scene back home in Halifax. Is that how you heard about this startup scene here in Waterloo?
Yeah, I mean, certainly there is, there are some connections there, and Halifax has a growing startup community, especially with Volta there in Halifax. So we've worked with some of those organizations and have made connections between some there and some up here in Waterloo. And actually, we have quite a bit of users in the Waterloo area, both startups and some of the software development shops here. So absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing how things go with the rest of the event here, and hopefully you will judge fairly.
I'm an out-of-towner, right? I have no reason to lean one way or the other.
No bias, no bribes being exchanged. Or
No,
anything.
exactly.
No, that's great.
A few of them are wearing our T-shirts, though. So I'll have
fair
to,
enough.
yeah.
Well, that's just advertising.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
Bonus points they're representing for you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jeff, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the hackathon.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
awesome. Thanks. Okay, so we are back, and we are here with Christine and Cherry and Chris. And, Christy, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read name tags from across the table here. And do you guys have a team name? Do you call yourselves anything? Yeah?
Yes.
Our team name is Park It.
It's
Park
say
It?
again?
Park It.
Okay.
Park it. As in, like, take your butt and park it in this chair?
Or your car.
I'm guessing it's a transportation thing, yes?
Park it in this spot.
Okay, right. Excellent. And what are you guys developing as part of the hackathon?
We're developing a parking app, basically a parking lot finder. It's going to be able to tell you where the nearest parking lot is. It's going to be able to figure out the hours of the day and whether it's okay to park or whether or not you're going to be charged, how much you're being charged. You can also figure out with the app how long you've been parked there.
Okay.
And you can report to other users of the app that parking lot's full and they should try a different one.
Excellent. Sounds good. And Chris, I'm guessing you're doing the digging into the code portion of the app?
Right now I got the open data set and I'm getting that out of the format that it's in and putting into one that's usable via a web page.
Awesome.
And helping my partner John over there. He's working
cool.
on that.
So what is the size of the team right now?
It's 4. The maximum size of the hackathon's 4.
Okay. So we have 3 of the 4 represented here.
Yes.
Okay. And Cherry and Christy, what are you guys working on? What portion of the app are you building?
We're currently working on some wireframes. So before we drew out some basic usability wireframes and we gave it over to Chris and John. So now they're coding the basic functionalities and we're making some more detailed wireframes to do some usability testing later.
Wow. Awesome. Sounds good. And both of you are working on that together, or is one kind of doing one thing? Yeah.
We're both working on the designs and also the wireframes.
And you guys have come all the way from Stratford, as I understand. Is that correct?
Yes, all the way.
Awesome. University of Waterloo, everybody on the team, or?
Nope.
Nope. Chris says nope.
I'm from BC.
That's a little farther than Stratford.
I went to college there, yeah.
Oh, fair enough. But you're an old hat at this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been to about 10 hackathons, yeah.
Great.
There you go.
And then
That's
what about
awesome.
John? Is he a University of Waterloo guy as well?
He recently graduated in June from nanotech engineering.
Oh, nanotech. Awesome.
Nanotech sounds so sexy. I'm sure it's a lot more boring when you're doing it, but I'm sure that it draws a lot of attention when he says in nanotech. That's cool. And so you guys, how far along are you, would you say?
Yeah, how goes the battle? Process? Are you winning or are you losing?
I mean, we had an idea. We pitched it to a bunch of different people around here.
Yeah.
And they seemed to like it. They gave us some good feedback. We started drawing on the windows.
Right.
Getting the designs up and looking at the data.
Yep.
To see that it will match our idea. And so far it's matched up pretty well.
Do you feel there's a good chance you'll have something demonstratable by the end
we'll
of the
absolutely have something demonstratable. You got to do demo first at these things.
Sure. And I'm guessing, Sherry and Christy, you'll be doing your best to make the final presentation look beautiful and well stylized and all that
Seamless
stuff.
integration.
Beautiful user experience.
Yes.
Not only looks, but also usability.
Yes, usability is huge for sure.
So what does the interface look like, or what level are you at here? Is this a heads-up display? Do I have to go to a web browser, or am I downloading an app, or give me a little bit more about what you guys are producing.
Where have you got that from?
Yeah, are those great questions?
So
right?
we're gonna do it on the web because it's the easiest one to work with.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a map interface. We'll probably try to use one of the sponsors, Esri.
Yeah.
Their map engine. So we're gonna try for that. And it's going to have some directions as to how to get to the parking spot.
Cool.
And I think we're going to have a slick-looking timer to tell you how long you've been there.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, I'm looking forward to trying it out. I can't actually remember right now where I've parked, so I could use your app right now, I think, if it was available. Good luck, guys. And, you still got more than 24 hours before judging and everything, so still lots of time to make it awesome.
We may touch base with you again tomorrow to see how you are right before the pitching.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, guys, we're back, and we are here with Jack and Nem, two members of a 4 or 5 member team, I guess you guys got going.
5.
Doing some more hacking here at the hackathon. Now, do you guys have a team name? Or a product name yet?
Well, the team name is Them Chocolate Coders.
Them Chocolate Coders. All right. Is there a story behind that name? Have you been eating a lot of chocolate here?
Well, initially when I thought of it, on social media and across various spheres of the web, I go by That Chocolate Guy, so it was just kind of an extension, and I was like,
gotcha.
Getting this team together, Them Chocolate Coders.
If you're famous, you got to use that Hollywood persona, right?
Exactly.
Might as well.
Chocolate is a good connotation too. It's sweet. Everybody loves chocolate. It's addictive.
Yep. Exactly. That's
awesome. So, what are you guys building for the hackathon?
So, what we're building it's called the
Louvers.
Yeah.
So
right.
It's like LOUO, then capital VR, and then S.
Right, and then it's a virtual reality app. So we're like a project called the Point of Interest that's open with a tour in the city of Waterloo, and then you can go there, look at it, and it will tell you the information where it is, whether there's parking visible, different kind, whether there's a guided tour, when you can visit. The app, and then you can either with the website or send your map, and then you can go and visit.
So is it something like I would be on location there making use of this on my mobile phone with a viewing device, like Google Cardboard type thing, or no?
Yeah, so you don't actually have to be on site.
Oh, I see.
It's a pre-planning tool for an event. So the event is it's called Doors Open Waterloo. So Doors Open 2015 or Doors Open 2016.
Yeah.
So we're using the 2015 data to kind of give an outline of the buildings that are involved. So if you want to take a look at a few historical sites, you can kind of plan your way around based on what you want to learn. So it'll tell you, who designed the building, when it was built, what generally that building was used for, useful information like that. And then also provide you with routing information by sending it to, Google Maps or something so you know how to get there.
That's awesome.
Really interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I know
you're
there's an open house for startups coming in November. where a bunch of startups are opening their doors, but this is something where businesses and buildings really in the city are opening their doors. So to look at it sort of architecturally then.
So what would I see? Like what's the VR component of what you guys are building? Like what would I actually see as I'm using your app? Am I seeing the buildings that are...
So what you will see is so we'll see the geographical location of it, since we've imported the terrain from Google Maps.
Okay.
So we'll see exactly how far it is and where they located in respect to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. I think I understand what you guys are doing. How's it? How's the progress? Are you actually doing what you want to do, or?
Yeah. So far we've been able to import some models. So we've been able to Jack has been able to import some Google Earth data.
Yep.
And so what we're doing right now is converting that or overlaying terrain data, actually. So we need digital elevation models.
Right.
You're reticulating splines.
Sorry?
You're reticulating splines. That's a SimCity reference.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jack, thank you. Yeah, you got that one.
Right, of course. So one of the ones is we're also getting the data from the elevation data, so we can further more accurate map the height of each part of the town. Mm-hmm. So again, know exactly how much uphill, downhill traveling got to do.
Where are we above sea level?
Right, exactly.
Exactly. Because if a flood's coming, I need to know.
So what happens then? You're going to be pitching this tomorrow night at the end of the event. Are you going to hand out viewers to everybody, Google Cardboards to try out the app? Or maybe just to the judges? I don't know.
No, we just have one viewer.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I would have brought mine as well, but I totally forgot. You know what? I'll probably go grab it at some point before tomorrow night.
At least give it to the judging panel. So
I'm updating my phone, so hopefully that will work out.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah, but,
well, it's cool. I think you guys are the only group I've heard of here that are doing like a virtual reality approach to the open data that we're making use of. So, I'm looking forward. I'm hopefully get a chance to try it out before the event is over. I think it would be really cool. So, thank you so much for talking to us today, guys.
Yeah, good luck, guys.
Yeah,
all
right.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, so we are now here with John and George.
I like to say George and John.
George and John. I think it works either way. What's the name of your team or your product?
So our app is called Timber.
Timber.
And it's essentially a social network for trees.
Okay. I thought you said Tinder for a second there. I was getting a little nervous.
Yes,
but yes.
Swipe right for Maple.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because we built it around the idea of Tinder for trees.
Okay, cool. So trees looking for other trees?
Well, actually, people looking for other people, but using trees as kind of a catalyst for that. So
interesting.
We have this API of all of the trees in the region, and we're creating it so that you can kind of meet up with people at trees. You can have a treat up, we call it.
Okay, nice.
So you say, hey, this is a really cool tree.
Yeah.
I want to meet up with someone there. And you send them a link. You say, hey, let's meet up at this time. They click that link and they say, cool, I'll be there.
Yep.
And
And will it direct them to that precise tree somehow?
Yeah, it'll be on a map and it'll show that tree, and then you can see who's
how will
checked
I
in
know
there.
I'm at the right tree? Like, is it like
there will be
very
somebody there
precise?
waiting
You can actually check in at trees on the map. So once you check in, you can vote on it. Is it a good tree? Is it a bad tree? You can also take a picture, upload it to our site, and then that picture will show up for everybody else.
It'll be integrated with GPS on your phone so that when you're walking down, you'll say, oh, I'm walking down this street. There's a tree right there. I like that tree. I'm going to upvote that. I'm going to check in here.
You guys have really hit on something, because I think the tree hugging market has been underserved for a long time.
Exactly.
Now that the liberals are in, things are changing.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think you guys have tapped into some real potential.
Now, do you guys yourselves have a love of trees that inspired this app, or was it more like you just saw some cool data and you thought, what can we do?
It was entirely me.
Yeah.
We kind of came into this blind. We didn't know what we were going to do. And so we were looking at data sets, and I saw the tree data set, and I was like, this is so cool. So I chose...
I'm surprised there's a tree data set. Like, there's
and
somebody
it has
out
90,000 rows.
There are 90,000 trees that we have, like what type of tree it is, the address it's in front of.
Wow.
It's great.
And so there's somebody from the city who at some point went out and cataloged every
hopefully
tree.
more than one person. Yeah, that would have been a boring job.
Yeah, but still, like, crazy. So, like, I see trees through the window right now where we're recording. Like, do you know, are all these trees, like, back here in
almost
the app?
all of them. It's mainly the trees beside streets.
It's called the data set's called the street trees.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
That's
So,
really cool.
yeah.
Like, I had never envisioned sort of the city from a tree perspective before.
Right.
So thank you guys. 'Cause
If you could
did a
somehow-
little paradigm shift with me. That's really cool.
If you can somehow make it in dog language, I'm sure the dogs have a great interest in which trees are being marked for what uses. That will be like the next innovation, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Once you have
dogs
success
start
with this
using
one.
iPhones.
Very cool. So how far along in the development process are you? Can you tell us?
So we have basically we've got a plan down. So we have our wireframe down, working
Okay.
on the front end. I've been working on the back end. So
cool.
We've got the trees in this area now in a Firebase back end. So that means constantly real time updating. If we
You
need
might
to
want
do
to
that.
rephrase that
I was
from
gonna
a
say,
tree sense.
Trees and fire don't often mix.
Yeah. Just throwing that out there.
ironic.
I don't know.
No, it's great. I think it's a good ironic combination. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. So you think you'll be on track to have like a demo that we can see by tomorrow night?
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Totally.
I guess there's no other way to answer that question. You can't say like, no, there's no way we'll be done.
Yeah.
If all goes well.
Yeah, perfect.
For some reason, I see you guys holding a little pot with a stick in it for your pitch.
All I can imagine is just
A
taking a
mini
picture of
tree.
a tree that I'm swiping left and right.
Yeah, that one, yes. That one, ooh, a little scratchy.
Yeah,
Too much
I
bark.
don't know about the bark on that one. Yeah, interesting.
Really cool, guys. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this final product, and good luck in the competition. And
Thank you.
I think it's
go
definitely
trees.
an innovative idea. So that's awesome. Yeah,
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, we are back. It is Sunday night. It's pretty much 8:00. They're about to start the presentations.
Yeah, we're being ushered into the auditorium. Jeff's walking around with a megaphone telling us to hurry up.
Yep.
There's about 15 participants that are going to be pitching, including a couple we talked to yesterday, Parkit, Them Chocolate Coders, and Timber.
Tell us the name of some of the other groups.
We've also
Steven?
got Discover, Food for You, Heart a Hack, Explore Waterloo, The Guardians, The Arrogant Ambassadors, U-Plan, Watermelon.
Watermelon?
Just to name a few.
Interesting. Yeah, we have no idea what we're going to see here in a few minutes, but it should be exciting. And we're hoping after the presentations are done, we'll come back. We'll give you a quick overview of what each of these groups have built
Yeah,
over
I see.
the last 36 hours.
I see right beside us, Darren, 3 checks: $500, $1,000, and $1,500. So we'll probably
Oversized
have
novelty
big,
checks.
yeah, the big deals.
Those are my favorite kinds of checks.
Absolutely.
One of these days, I'm going to get one of those checks.
I might give you one for Christmas.
Thanks, man.
It'll be oversized but undervalued.
That's me in a nutshell.
So let's get in there,
yeah.
get a good seat, and keep our eyes and ears peeled. I'm ready to clap and cheer for meeting at the coolest tree in Kitchener.
Yeah, timber, I think will be interesting.
All I've thought about is trees since yesterday.
Well, let's get in there and satisfy that tree. I got nothing. I thought a witty comment would come, and it didn't.
It didn't, eh? Nothing about Woody Woodpecker or Woody nothing, eh?
No,
Okay.
no.
Good. Well, let's move on.
All right, let's get in there, and we'll see you guys after we hear some pitches. All right, so we just listened to 15 pitches.
15 3-minute pitches with 2 to 3 questions from the judges.
For each, and now it's like 10:30 at night. The judges are deliberating. We're going to give you a quick overview, maybe 10 seconds for each one, or 15 seconds to tell you what we heard, and go back in and listen to who won.
Yeah, so the first one was the Arrogant Ambassadors, hashtag FixItKW. They were sort of a social media dashboard for hot topic issues around the city.
Yeah, or if you need something fixed or something attended to, graffiti or potholes or whatever, then you can report it through social media. No app to download. It's all done through social media, which is cool.
Number 2 was Catherine Holloway. She did OWER, which is sort of a word out east for a bird's eye view. And she was doing skyline visualization, sort of an in-browser 3D model of the Waterloo skyline.
Yeah, and it looked really cool. You could zoom in, zoom out, kind of see the heights of the buildings and different categories for each one.
Yeah, she'd done very well for a team of 1.
Yep.
Number 3 was Code to Death. They were doing mobile real-time guide.
Yeah, I can't remember that one very much.
There were several that were very similar. So they were sort of letting you know what was happening around town in a mobile version.
Right, yes.
Number 4 was Discover, Finding Waterloo, the game. So they had sort of gamified, if you live here, do you know your city? And if you're coming here, do you want to learn about the city?
It was like a cute little character, and just like you have on like Command and Conquer types strategy games where the map is kind of blacked out until you move your character through it.
It's called the Fog of War, I believe.
That's right. And this is like the Fog of Waterloo, I guess. You
yes.
Walk your character through and discover what's
Number
there.
5 was Food for You, Safe Dining. So they were using the restaurant inspection data, and they were telling you on a visual map sort of what the restaurant food inspections for the last couple of years have been.
So you see different colored dots depending on what level of cockroach infestations have been found at different places.
So eat at the green dot restaurants, not the yellow or the red dot restaurants.
Exactly.
Number 6, I have an asterisk beside this one of my favorites. Heart of Hack. Oh, sorry, Heart of Hack.
Yeah.
Like a heart attack. Heart attack.
Right.
They have it as nearby or nearby.
Yep.
Point the camera. It's augmented reality. You can sort of point the camera around and it'll show you what's ahead of you.
Yeah.
Or the top 10 locations.
It shows kind of like little boxes as you rotate around the circumference of where you're standing, and you can click on the box, and it shows you what's worth seeing in that direction.
Yeah, they had a really good presentation, and were very polished looking.
Sure.
The next one, Sports Map by Yin and Yang.
Yep.
They were doing sort of a meet up and play kind of a situation.
Yeah, for pickup games, and you can schedule.
Meet at the park or at the ball diamond or at the basketball court. If
Yep.
a game has started, it would end after sort of 3 hours, he said. So you can sort of look on it and say, hey, some dudes are playing basketball right now.
Let's go join them. Yep.
Number 8, Park It.
Yeah, how to find parking around town?
Yeah, so we talked to these guys yesterday a little bit. I didn't realize that 30,000 tickets were given out in the city of Waterloo each year. I wonder if this is one of those apps where the city says, please don't make that. That's a lot of money that we're losing when you make a great app for the citizens.
I wonder.
Helping you find out where not to park and where to park. It'll find a parking spot for you.
Yeah.
Number 10, we went into, number 9, Explore Waterloo.
Yep.
Now,
another one, find points of interest.
Yeah, their logo was, or their tagline was, now you kind of know where you are. Another location-based app.
Yep.
Number 10, The Guardians did a city tracker, very polished, looking at citizens at risk, sort of based on the gentrification of different neighborhoods.
Yeah, it was color-coding different neighborhoods based on economic status of people moving in and moving out, and crime rates in each neighborhood, and it was interesting.
Yeah, they did a very good job. They did. It looked very polished. Again, kind of an issue of great problem. You're putting a spotlight on a problem, right? So then what's the solution to it? So,
right.
Number 11, them chocolate coders came out with Lou VR, or virtual reality for Waterloo.
Yeah, the same kind of thing, finding places of interest, but using it in a VR kind of user interface. I didn't get a chance to try it out because it was all on PowerPoint. But
yeah, it's hard to do a VR simulation or demo when you're in an auditorium.
It's true, yeah.
Number 12, probably the most creative use of the data sets we saw, Timber.
Yeah,
Hashtag treat up.
Play on words with Tinder. We've talked to those guys briefly. You heard it earlier in this podcast, but they did a great presentation. Got a lot of laughs out of people. Lots of tree-based puns. And
the mayor actually came out afterwards and said there are some serious tree issues in the city.
Yeah.
That data.
The fact it got special mention from the mayor, I think, shows that they're doing something right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Number 13, we saw U-Plan. Basically, Yelp for buildings. You rate and give. You can rate them and then find out some information about them.
Yeah, looks like an app that I probably wouldn't use.
You're not excited about rating buildings?
I guess not.
Number 14, the Waterloo Warriors did Water Park, and it's basically making money by renting out your driveway for parking.
Yeah, it's like Airbnb, but they said Airbnb, pay and park, so you can rent out your driveway space and get some money. There might be some legalities around that, but we didn't get into that in the presentation.
Like a bylaw that the city actually passed to not charge for your driveway.
Yeah, something like that. But
well, they're at the right place to get that bylaw lifted.
Yep.
Finally, we had Watermelon, the very innovative Lost and Found.
Yeah,
with
so
a
if you
web-based app.
lose an item in the city, you can report it. If you're trying to find an item, you can look on there and claim it. And they have like a really cool map interface that shows kind of different icons depending on the type of item lost. And I thought it could be useful as long as it's not exploited by wrongdoers.
Right. Great presentation. A lot of fun in it. Had everybody laughing. They'd use some neat memes.
Yep.
Had a couple good quotes. Our glorious mayor, His Worship Dave, said that today
Dave Jaworski.
Dave Jaworski said today we made history. Because this is the first CodeFest for the city of Waterloo.
Yep.
And then I had a great quote from Sarah at SAP, one of our sponsors. Without you guys, the data dies.
Right. It's always nice to have rhyming quotes.
Absolutely.
Makes them seem more profound. So we can
So
actually...
what was your favorite, before we run back in and see who the judges have picked?
Yeah.
Did anything stand out for you, Darren?
Yeah, I liked I liked the tree one, Timber, for the originality of it, and I really liked the Lost and Found one simply because I thought that's an app that I could actually see myself potentially using. I almost said losing.
Nicely done.
What kind of Freudian slip is that? It's
Not
past
a
my
Freudian slip, I
bedtime.
believe.
Well, it's a slip of
It
some
was a slip,
sort.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I really found that the Timber was neat. Young
Yeah.
guys doing it, having a lot of fun. They made some videos of them walking around, meeting up at trees and stuff, and had some demo difficulties, but rolled right through it.
Yep.
So that was really neat. And I also liked, I think the Guardians did a neat job. They had a high school student with them.
Yeah.
And it was very polished and a good presentation, too. So those are a couple of my favorites.
Absolutely. There was one team that was all first-year computer science students, and the dean of their program is one of the judges here tonight, and gave them a little bit of praise during the Q&A session. So it
never hurts to impress your dean, eh?
As a first-year student, I think it's good to impress your dean of the university, especially when it's University of Waterloo. So
the judges are standing just off to our left here.
Yep.
In a circle, huddling. There's some
deliberation.
Some fists raised. There's some voices being shouted at each other.
Some heads being nodded. So we're going to let them finish their judging, and then hopefully after the winner is announced, we're going to grab them, bring them over, and get a few minutes with them to wrap up the podcast.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get home and go to bed because it's frigging late
You're
for me.
half pumpkin already.
I am indeed. All right, so we'll be back in a few minutes here, guys.
Let's see who wins.
Yep. Okay, guys, well, the winners have been announced, and we have them here with us. It is Timber, who we talked to earlier in the podcast, actually, when we were interviewing people yesterday, which is amazing. We thought you guys were amazing yesterday. Now it's been officially confirmed by people who are smarter than us that you have a great app.
You guys are standing here with a big goofy check that says $1,500 on it.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Oh, it feels great.
It feels fantastic.
Is that your first big goofy check?
Yes.
It's our first big goofy check.
But not the last.
Hopefully.
So how did the pitch go?
I think pitch went well. The video didn't play with audio, so I kind of had to wing it.
Yep.
We had a bunch of tree puns in the initial video, and so I was like standing there for a good 5 seconds panicking because I was like, wait, what were the tree puns?
But you still pulled them out.
I remember them. It was pretty easy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you were able to branch out and get those tree puns done very well.
See, that was one of the puns. How did you guys have any idea when you were going through the pitches and hearing the other teams that what did you think your chances were?
Well,
being a more comically focused app, we didn't think we would actually we thought that our app could have potential serious implications too, but we didn't think that they were as strong. So
right.
We knew that we had a good standing because we had a pretty nice material design app and it had a lot of features.
Sure.
And it was more than anything, a lot of the apps did the same thing, and ours was very, very different. And I think that separated us from the other groups.
And you did get the mayor putting an extra little vote of confidence in for you after you did your pitch.
That was really nice.
That felt really nice.
Yeah, the mayor said that there are real problems with trees and that nobody else has sort of used that data set. So he seemed pretty excited that you guys were actually looking at that, right?
Yeah.
Being the only group that used that data set about trees
was really good, considering half the groups used parking and the other half used
points of interest or something.
Points of interest, yeah.
So what are you guys going to do now? Are you going to move forward with the app, or
do you have a meeting with the mayor on Monday at 8:30 in the morning? Or
well, I think we have to finish the app now.
We should finish the app now.
It's not done, so we should probably finish it,
Probably.
and then maybe host it online, see where that goes.
So you guys have done a pinky swear that you're going to finish the app through development and then bring it to the world.
Find a way to monetize it somehow and all that stuff.
Okay, maybe not a pinky swear.
Maybe not pinky swear, but it's in the works.
Fair enough.
Well, cool.
Well, guys, yeah, it's awesome. Congratulations. Hope that you go big places with trees.
Thank you.
You can plant a lot of trees with $1,500.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a lot of trees.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah,
All
congratulations,
right.
guys.
Thanks,
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I guess that about wraps things up.
I told you so. I knew it. Those are my favorite guys. The Tinder type.
Yeah, they were actually my favorite too, and I'm really glad that they won. It was a fun weekend. We got lots of free food and got to meet some really amazing people. Hung out with the mayor of Waterloo a little bit.
The sponsors were so generous with their time and all of their support.
Yeah.
And seeing this cool CG building was pretty neat as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And
possibly a future Hacker Nest
event
possibility, yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. And so let us just throw this out here. If you ever have a chance to get involved with a hackathon, especially one in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, everybody here, I think, would unanimously say that it was a great experience, and jump on board, meet some new people, create some cool things, and get noticed by people like, mayors and deans of computer programs and all those kind of people that can really help move you forward in your career.
Yeah, I look forward to maybe doing it again next year. Every time I do one of these, or we do, I'm amazed at the smart people that are here, and I often feel the pull to go up on stage and pitch something, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's awesome. It's such a feeling of excitement and entrepreneurial sort of ethos.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely encourage you guys to check it out.
Yep.
If you get the chance.
Sounds good. So thank you very much for joining us, everybody. You can find us online at tspweekly.com, or you can find us on Twitter at TSP Weekly. And we hope to bring you more events like this in the future. But for now, take care, and we'll see you later.